Hello, and welcome back to the Roll Report, friends and rollers. I'm going to keep doing that because I think it's fun.
I like it.
I've totally changed on it.
I'm glad I brought you around. My name is Colin. I am your debatably friendly DM. I use he and they pronouns, and with me are my fabulous, wonderful players, our Heroic Trio. Hello, Heroic Trio.
Hello.
And fabulous guest. Hello, fabulous guest.
Hello.
Very musical. Let's go around clockwise. Why not? We're all at the table again, and I love it. Clockwise.
That's me.
That's you.
Hi, I'm Kaya. I use they, them pronouns, and my character is Rivulet Starfish, the 7th princess of nautical Atlantis.
That's the one.
Hello, I am Ben. I use he, him pronouns. My character is Talus, shapeshifter, currently in the body of Renton Connolly.
Been a good body. It's had a good run.
It's a good body. Very attractive. So much charisma.
Charisma out the ears.
Hi, my name is Hannah. My pronouns are they, them. I am here to play a Psyche Filialine, whose pronouns are they, she. A inspector from the council to help you guys with your extraplanar mystery that you're solving.
And that leaves me. Hi, I'm Fenner. I use they, them pronouns, and I play Galen, who uses he, him pronouns as a human mercenary that was raised by octopuses, heart of gold, and a cast iron pan to boot.
And a cast iron stomach.
Oh, yeah. And floor wine.
And floor
And
wine.
gratuity.
The hooch. The whole hooch. Well, let's do a little recap, shall we? Last time, so recently for us, so long for you, potentially.
Same amount of time,
Same amount?
actually.
Well, no, we've had 1 week. It'll be
no.
2. Haha.
Yeah.
1 week less for us.
You were right.
Time.
Time is a soup. What does it mean anyway? Slurp, a sloop to be soup to be slurped. Sloop to be
Time to
souped?
move on.
Time to move on. Last time, you all were surprised by a pair of Choldrith in the web-covered temple of Eileen, the goddess of love. You defeated one and managed to subdue the other and detect thoughts on it. Talus casted. Beyond a wordless scream of betrayal and rage and loneliness in its surface thoughts, Talus glimpsed a vision of the secret tomb of monstrosities. Strange red portals being opened, and Choldriths and other creatures escaping through these portals, presumably to elsewhere on the material plane. Psyche and Talus between them remember that these creatures were originally creations of the goddess Pentris, the goddess of the dark side of the moon and witchery and wild things and that sort of thing. But after some events, they had changed and given into sort of the darkest, or embraced the darkest impulses of their nature and of their goddess, and had eventually been sealed away with the rest of that previous generation of the god's children in a secret tomb somewhere under the sea. You woke up the priestess of the temple, an elf named Farain, and the other 2 cocooned individuals, learning from them that someone in a red robe had placed the strange pyramid device on the temple's altar shortly before a strange noise and the attack of the Choldrith. Talus confirmed this when Farain allowed Fem to read her thoughts, and Faye recognized the color and style of the robes of the Harbingers of Crimson, of this strange cult, did not recognize the face of that individual. A closer inspection of this strange teleportation device that Rivulet had broken in order to extract a rare crimson sunferrite crystal.
In order to break the bomb.
You can justify it all you want. All right.
Would have been reasonably-
We all saw it.
That was the plan.
Could have been a reasonable suspicion at the time. It's certainly true. But revealed a little maker's mark, a little bird inscribed on one of the vertices of this pyramid that you remembered a particular shop on the street of artificers. The shop Irregular Artifice, whose sign has an almost identical illustration to the one on the device. And that is where we are now. So the four of you are standing in the garden outside the Temple of Eileen to get away from some of the cobwebs and the two dead monstrosities inside. The orc, Chorza, is kind of leaving at the moment, carrying her tabaxi lover, and the priestess is kind of standing off to the side, sort of see if there is any other thing that she can do to be helpful. What would you all like to do? Anything?
Well, that was a bit of a harrowing experience, looking inside the mind of a spider monster and seeing this terrifying tomb filled with monstrosities. I'm concerned for our future well-being, my friends.
Oh, man. Me too. I'm not feeling so hot after all that action.
It was some pretty intense action. The spiders, I feel like they'll haunt my dreams.
I'm so glad that I was there for you all to defeat the spiders.
There for us? What? Were you even here for the last 10 minutes of
No, I
You
saw a few guiding bolts held from somewhere in the darkness.
Right, she just happened to be...
Much damage without being hand to hand.
It's reasonable to hide in the corner when there's giant spider monsters
And also
around.
when, you're an important diplomat who maybe shouldn't be doing this sort of thing.
All right,
Yes,
sure.
but where would you be without me? Probably spider food.
Actually, that brings up an excellent point. Princess, could you perhaps walk me through what precisely was your plan? Sabotaging the... I presume you saw some sort of rune and no...
Oh, yes.
The
Well, it
purpose
seemed
of
like some
it.
kind of transporter, and considering this place seemed creepy AF, I thought that I might disband the transporter,
And
which
you
is basically
saw
like a
that
bomb.
rune before you interfered with the object.
Yes, absolutely.
And what...
Make a
what,
deception check.
Hey, why don't you go ahead and show me
7.
the rune?
Oh, wait.
It's the rune in the room with
Lie to
us.
It was a
the
7.
Rude in the room.
What for a total of?
Oh, do I have deception?
Yes, it is.
It's
in
at least your
skills.
charisma, I think, right?
It is
If
one of your
you-
skills. If you go ahead and flip over to where you find your skills,
Yeah.
starting with acrobatics, you can scroll down to
Oh,
There you go.
so
Yeah.
it's a 10 or a 17.
It's
a
an
17.
11, right?
11.
And plus 4. I think your passive
My passive
beats
is
that.
16.
I think everybody's possibly.
So your passive perception is
Yeah,
your
so
senses.
I think as Rivulet says this, like Talus and Galen, you also in this moment realize that I don't believe Rivulet had any idea
I never believed it.
that, or certainly did
No,
not know that was the
I didn't
case.
know it was a rune, right? I didn't see a rune, but I had a
Just like-
sense.
you had a sense it would have been a bomb. It could have
I'm
been a bomb. and you
highly
could set it off,
trained
and it
in
could-
all sorts of things.
Yes, and
But are you trained in working together?
No, this is all new to me, actually.
Well. I know we didn't, get club T-shirts or anything, but I don't know if you've noticed, but we're kind of a thing now. And we are to
T-shirts.
work together.
That's a splendid idea.
Oh, yeah. My first pirate crew, we all had shirts. It was great.
Yes.
we
Pirates
gonna-
have to have matching T-shirts. I think that's
remarkably.
that's
Do you
well
think
known.
maybe we
That's
should all
right.
get matching T-shirts?
Right.
And that
Otherwise,
would help with the
how will anyone know
camaraderie.
that you're a pirate if you're not wearing your pirate shirt?
Right.
Of course, they were sleeveless.
Right. Yours
Naturally,
is
what else would they do?
elegantly cut to display your tactical nipple ring, I would assume.
Whoa, no, that was...
Oh, is that secret?
This isn't Mean Girls, Atlantis style.
Hey, I have a few friends on that. Thank you very much.
You would. Are they the same friends that inspired you to futz around with that thing without consulting the rest of the crew?
Well, sometimes one just needs to listen to themselves.
Well, I think you got to get off a bubble and get into this
Other
flow.
bubble.
Yeah, the other bubble.
did a
The real life bubble. This is real
What
life.
happened? I don't know if I would have been able to defeat 20 of these all on my own. 2, fine. But 20? I don't know.
Certainly, and it is very fortunate that is what happened after you disarmed the teleportation device.
High probability.
Given no high probability was that it was an incendiary device that could have sent the entire ring a blow. I don't exactly know what the verb
I was ready
is.
to run for
blaze,
cover,
A
certainly.
blaze, something like
A
that.
light.
It could have potentially led to the death not only of
Galen
us, but
slowly
of
puts his
everyone
thesaurus away.
in the ring.
Well, then it wouldn't be a problem because we'd all
Because
be
you'd
dead.
Yes, okay. Ideally.
But instead, I saved us from being maimed.
yes, how lucky.
Ideally, I live. That's all I'm saying.
Princess,
Yes.
now far be it for me. You guys are a group. I don't want to speak for the group.
You
but,
don't want a T-shirt? Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you're making
Galen
them, I
puts his
suppose.
I
sketchbook
thought you were
away.
one of
He was
us. I was
sketching.
already
I didn't say
making
that.
sure to include your personal logo on the T-shirt design.
Very nice. Listen,
Asta will get one too,
point-
and Ron.
the point being,
Oh, and we should have one for 9 as well, and Bob.
Right, and don't forget Alistair.
you are not entitled to make decisions unilaterally for the entire group that could end all of their lives.
Yeah, but you
that's
could make
exactly
t-shirt
what I'm
design.
being trained for.
Focus
Thank you
on the
very
t-shirt
much.
design.
To unilaterally
decision.
make, okay, but for not Lantians, and you're not doing that yet.
Varane sort of steps in from it and looks for hands. If I may, I think everyone has a lot of feelings, and I would like to advise you, if I might, just everyone use I statements. Say how you feel, not you statements, as in it is your fault or you did a thing. Perhaps it is I feel
Right.
like this.
My pirate
and
captain taught us all a lot about active listening and nonviolent
not mine. He
communication.
just had a gun.
Quite an interesting captain.
Although we were very violent as pirates, but we communicated very effectively between ourselves.
I believe so. And don't mean to interrupt. And I'll be cleaning up the temple now if there's nothing else you need from me.
Oh, we could help clean up a little bit. Come on, guys. I think that's
I assume-
exactly the kind of like group activity that's going to bond us together. And
Right.
we can keep discussing. Look, when you
Teenagers
serve
do not
others, you
like
serve
tidying.
yourself.
Anything. I thought we should go talk to whoever was giving us the mission and get our praise and get our gold and maybe some nice swag.
Well, we've got to
Especially
go
the
and
nice
check out this irregular artifice in Cattail Corral where apparently this raven sigil is from, and find out where this creepy divisive portal opening came from. But
Is that a
perhaps if
shop
we,
by
I
any
think it is.
chance?
It is a shop. I know how
okay,
much you
yes.
like
And
those.
you
should
can
definitely go.
talk on the way. You can express your feelings on the
Right,
way. It's
right.
Well, everybody grab a disheveled brick on your way out, at least. So we'll just
Right.
kind of pile them
I
on
would
this side.
appreciate
Right.
that. Thank you. That's very
get-
kind of you, Gabe.
Perhaps we should ask Ferain if she knows anything about this irregular artifice. Ferain, while we're cleaning for a moment with you, do you happen to know about this shop?
Let's see if Ray knows about the shop. So you take a few moments, I think Rivulet, with some amount of eye rolling
Dragging her
Huffing
feet.
and puffing,
and
definitely.
like
Whatever.
Ferain sort of directs you
Sigh.
to start clearing the windows at least. So like and as you open them, the temple is more revealed in the light in some of its
You think
normal.
that
Lovely.
saved somebody's life, that they would help us with something, either give us a gift or a token of praise, but instead we're ending up cleaning our stuff. It's not enough. It's never enough. No important.
As Ferain thinks for a moment about the shop and hears us, just laughs. Well, it's been open for some time. I think, if I remember, no one's quite sure exactly where the proprietor is from, and they seem to have a very high quality potions. But I spend most of my time here at the temple, giving out advice and counseling and cleaning occasionally, as it were, and the other duties of the priesthood.
Right. And of course, the people that brought the device in the first place, I think we've already spoken to you about this, but you don't remember their faces clearly. And once we mention the irregular artifice, that doesn't stir any other memories for you, I suppose.
It doesn't, I'm afraid. And no, it was a person in a red robe, but as you walked through my memory with me, I believe you saw everything that I had noticed.
And there
Right.
wasn't anyone else who they might have walked past.
No, the temple was rather empty this morning, just myself and the two
No
that you met.
sign book, that they might have signed?
A guest book? No, we
Yes.
don't. We don't really keep that sort of thing here.
Oh. That's
Well,
interesting.
Thank you for helping me clean. If I do appreciate it. If you feel so inspired, I'm sure I'll be doing this for a bit longer. But you do have important business, I suppose. Thank you. very
Thank you,
much.
priestess. And princess, you can just deposit the fish that you took back where they go.
Yes, I did that.
No, no, princess, you are see-through.
I can still see it in your
are-
foot
you are
right there.
Hiding behind.
Let's ask
Roll a-
the fish what
Roll
they want.
a
No, do not. No,
Hiya.
the fish
Roll
are
a
the property
roll a
of-
stealth
no.
check at disadvantage. Just a flat roll for the fish. Yeah, well, the fish can hide.
Oh, both eights.
And
All right.
8
Just
plus-
flat. They're fish. They
they're
get
8.
they get
They get no
nothing.
bonuses.
The fish are just, they're sort of trying to hide behind Bob or snuggle Bob. It's a little unclear, but they're just very visible in your leg right now.
And
Well, we can
Galen
ask
shouts
them what
at
they
them.
would prefer.
No, you can return them to their home, please.
Fish are sentient beings
That's
with feelings and
lovely.
desires, and they
Yes.
don't belong to anybody.
Including you. So go ahead and put them back where
So
they
we
go.
can ask them what they want.
No, Galen just shouts at the fish. Which roughly translated is get out of that chick's leg, hop back to your rightful body of water.
Galen, make a persuasion check.
Roll to persuade fish.
Oh, I have great persuasion, so that's an 18.
The fish definitely, you feel them. They're not quite leaping out of your leg, but you feel their heads sort of break the surface like they're trying to swim away from you.
Rivulet walks over to the body of water and sticks her foot in the water and says, if you really want to go, you may, but I can offer you a better life if you want a better life. Roll for persuasion. That's a 14.
Can I do whatever's the opposite of the help action and give them a stern look?
Roll for persuasion.
Roll an intimidation for that, Psyche. And
That is a I roll intimidation at advantage. What the?
when you use
Okay.
your flurry of blows thing,
You're so
it's your
right.
extort truth.
Okay, so that's a 12 plus 1 is a 13.
So no, Rivulet, you're not rolling at disadvantage. Farain just kind of has left and come to the garden with you and come and said, they have quite a nice life here. They entertain the visitors and we feed them and take care of them well. We have a druid on call in case they ever get sick or injured. I'm not sure
What
why you
kind
think
of
they have such a...
adventures could they go on in a closed body of
I'm
water?
afraid that
Fish don't like
clownfish-
adventures.
I must agree with your friend.
Fish like regular feeding of
Bob wants to go home back to his place. We've had many a conversation
octopus
about
is
it.
very different.
I'm
honey.
not talking about 9, I'm talking about Bob.
The goldfish swim back into their bowl, and you all set out on your way to
Whatever.
just so you are walking and talking at the same time.
So it's the three of us and a surly teenager.
Yeah.
kind of dragging her feet behind
Y'all
us.
giving me shit for saving your lives multiple ways, multiple times. Thinking you know better than me. It's not
And
like
at-
I've been
at a certain point,
delegated
we all
and
just
like
kinda-
trading all this kind of stuff.
We don't hear you anymore. You become like static television buzz. Yeah, it's in the background.
We're all fully gray rocking you now.
It's over.
Right, so to the artificer shop then. Next stage of investigation, I take it.
Yeah. We can walk. It's not too bad of a walk.
Right, Cattail Corral. How far?
Canal.
Canal.
From where you are, it's about 10-minute short walk.
Do I have time to make like a snack or something while we're walking?
It's kind of mid-afternoon by now. It hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that much of a day, despite how many things have happened. And I think from what you could safely assume right now, the shop would probably be open and there's no reason to rush. So you could absolutely take the time to stop and gather mussels or the other various items that Galen tends to go
quick
for.
little seaweed salad.
Yeah.
Scoop it out the side.
Galen, are you feeling well enough?
No, I feel terrible.
Right.
A short walk and a moment to stop and make food along the way. You can absolutely take a short rest. And I want to remember because your chef treats do special things.
Exactly. If I cook the treats, I can gain 3 temporary hit points or 1d8 hit points from special food.
I think that's the one that you've been using before. They're named almost the same thing, but your special food is the short rest.
Long rest. Yeah.
Yeah, the special food is at the end of a short rest. If you are using hit dice, you get an extra D8 of that for free. What?
Anyone else need some snacks?
I'll partake.
Always.
I'm
Chicharrones
hungry.
are quite good.
Well, I guess I got
I'm always
6
hungry.
of
I'm
them.
growing.
So yeah, let's use up 4. Do I roll for each one, or is it roll 1 and then everyone gets?
So everyone who is using their hit dice on the short rest can roll an extra D8. So for you, you'll roll a D8 for yourself, and then if you're using some of your hit dice, you'll add those. You have 2 more that you could use, and those are D10s for you.
I'm sorry,
All right,
I'm a little confused.
so we're
Sure.
I'm rolling to see how many hit points I get.
Yes.
Once for doing this treat, or is there something else that has to happen?
No, that's all that you need to do. You roll a D8 when you're
I roll 1d8.
1d8 hit points, and everyone else who is eating them can roll a D8.
Okay, to see how many.
But you
hit
roll
points.
do we
you roll 1
press?
for yourself.
Short rest?
Yes, we are doing a short rest.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. So you also, if you want, you have 2 other D8s, Kaya, that you can use, and you can mark those off. And Fenner, you could also have 2 more D10s. You have some hit dice. That's like your paladin hit dice.
So I can add
Yes.
them to the roll.
Yeah.
2 of them.
Yes.
So that I get the total.
2 D10s and 1 D8.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
because I need it.
You did take a bit of a beating that last fight.
Oh, what? Is that a 0? Does that mean a
That means 10.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Can I get more healing points than I have HP for, or
No.
just maxes out?
Max, it goes to your max if it goes to your max. Galen, what food are you making on this short rest?
Oh, it's a really simple
The seaweed salad.
Seaweed salad.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's great is that I noticed that the seaweed I pull out, it has a bunch of these little tiny snails on it that are really good extra protein. And you can let them crawl around on your wounds before you eat them. And they just kind of add a little slick slime, healing up any scrapes or scratches you got.
the healing power of slick slime.
Yeah, slick slug slime.
Delicious.
Slick slug slime. Slick
Galen, when
slug
precisely
slime.
did you learn to cook?
Out in the ocean.
From whom?
Trial and error. I had a lot of upset tummies when I was a kid.
Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose octopi are experts at making.
They had no
fire.
idea how to keep me alive. It's a
Right.
wonder.
Right. It is a
Octopi are
wonder.
quite smart, actually. I'm sure
Right.
9 could keep me alive if I needed them.
Well, Princess, you are also a water genasi, so naturally predisposed to
Surviving, yes, I think so.
surviving in the water. Humans, not so much. I don't suppose the
We look
octopi were.
rather similar, though. I've
You
got 2 hands. He's
do.
got 2 hands. I've got a face. He's got a face.
Is that the end of the list of similarities?
There's plenty more.
We like drinking things and eating things, and he speaks and I speak, and he seems sentient, and, well, I'm clearly sentient,
Did
so...
you just say he seems sentient?
Yes, well, you never really know, but...
Aren't you? Okay. That is a fascinating position to take. So you learned to cook through trial and error.
Yeah, you know, my time on the open seas with the pirates once I got older, there's a lot of pirate recipes out there, and boy, are they interesting.
Right. Well, we all know how much pirates love their seaweed, so that's like one of the first recipes you learn.
Oh, yeah. You learn how to eat it, and then you learn how to smoke it.
Really?
True.
I mean,
It's
don't...
got to be cured properly in order to smoke it.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
don't smoke it when it's too wet.
Right.
We've all
It's
made that
hard
mistake
work,
before.
Right. Speaking of which, now sounds like a pretty nice time for a smoke. Talus will pull out their pipe of smoke monsters and put a little of the white cloud tobacco, I think it's called.
Oh, that smells great.
Well,
Rivulet also pulls out her pipe and stealthily tries to pinch some of his.
Roll sleight of hand.
18 plus
that's pretty.
Talus, make a,
That's a 21.
perception check.
21. Hey.
Perceiving. I'm bad at perceiving. This is probably going to go well for you. Oh, that looks like a 20.
Oh.
I smack your naughty hand away. Drone would be very disappointed in me if I were to allow you to smoke, unless it were a very special occasion.
Well, isn't this a special occasion? We all just survived and we defeated some monsters.
Well, I do remember
We
you
just have to celebrate.
being quite cheeky after we were finished, so I'm not feeling particularly beguiled by you at this particular moment.
You think you'd all be grateful that I saved you all from all those monsters, but no, it's just you didn't listen to us and you made a choice that saved all our lives.
Princess, are you really under the impression that we're mad at you for saving all of our lives?
Well, I think you'd be more grateful.
I am immensely grateful. I would be more grateful if you had identified that the bomb would not explode before you pulled the mechanism out of it.
By the way, who's carrying that?
The ferrite? I mean, the
No,
rest of the device
the
is
device.
busted, right?
Or yeah, did anyone keep it?
I was
or-
going to say, I don't think I picked it up, and I forgot to.
I think I kept
I gave it to you
Okay.
to look
Yes.
at.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I
So
have
Psyche has it. Okay.
Yeah.
So by now also Psyche, the liquid that was frozen has when Rivulet exploded this little vial of stuff has thawed and is sort of leaking a little bit. Make a medicine check with advantage.
Oh boy.
And I guess where are you keeping it if you're keeping it? It's like in
I
your
am
pack
keeping
somewhere.
it in a separate pouch.
Mhm.
I think I moved my incense into my bag generally, and I'm keeping it in this leather pouch that I usually keep incense in. That is a 13.
So even with 13, as you guys are eating this seaweed salad and as you're talking this, you feel like a little wet spot kind of on your hip and you pick it up. You notice there's this dark liquid that is now staining this leather bag. So you open it up. It is, even with 13, very easy to tell that the liquid, now that it has thawed, was human blood.
Duh.
Not a lot of it, but enough that it has sort of soaked and through this little, fairly thin leather.
Okay.
I thought we just healed you up. Why are you bleeding?
It's not me.
God.
Thank you. It's
What is that?
There was a vial of human blood inside that thing.
Oh, what sort of
Gross.
dastardly. We better be on our guard when we go into this irregular artifice
Yeah, I
shop.
guess now we know why those cloaks are red.
That's an
funny to
astute.
you?
Clearly,
That actually might
very
be.
naughty
That's
people.
actually a very good point.
It's a blood cult.
They must be doing blood magic.
Right. I mean, otherwise, why does anyone have
blood
read
stuff.
anything?
Can I
we,
roll
We
history
painted
check?
the decks of the pirate ship red to cover up the blood.
That's very.
Oh, that's clever.
That's very smart.
Yes.
Can I roll a history check to see what I know about blood magic?
Yeah, go for it.
That is going to be a 13 plus 7, so it's a dirty 20.
So with you know much of the lore of the worship of all of the gods has kind of been covered, and you've spent years doing this. There's not many cults that are known to have practiced blood magic. In the archipelago, sort of similar to I guess their canonical origins, like blood hunters and the like, are very rare because people don't trust them. It is known that there are some people, usually that worship either the trickster, or Pentress, in fact, the deity that you have just kind of recalled that was the Choldrith.
Isn't the trickster Galen's dude man? God?
One of them, yes.
Yeah.
So some of the some of the sort of blood hunter types that are known to exist are known to worship one of those two gods, and there are some, in spite of them being very mistrusted. That's kind of what is known. In the past, as anywhere, some cults have existed and usually kind of bloomed and faded in the ways of these things, and same deities. There is also one, Trisoni, the goddess of the underworld and the harvest and the crescent moon, also had one that was less blood magic than acknowledging the power inherent in I guess in bodily fluid, you might say, and like in what that means to people in relationships and to people that use magic.
Yeah, to give up the body.
Yeah. And all three of the lunar deities have various feminine blood magic rites, if I can use that term.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For people who menstruate.
People who menstruate. Yes, there are like
Naturally
menstruation ritual
blood.
and again, not as much that if there's magic in those rituals, it is mostly known to be for the purposes of motherhood, of fertility, infertility, using some of that ritual magic to prevent yourself from being pregnant or to get pregnant, or to hopefully help someone else have an easy birth or an easy pregnancy. There's
I've not necessarily seen it used in this way, though.
No.
Okay.
Not as, as a thing that is powering a planar teleportation device.
Right.
Universes are
Would you
birthing
say
into each other.
that in general? Oh, sorry, Kaya. What was that?
I said universes birthing into each other.
Oh, there's the connection. I was just gonna say, I imagine that blood magic is one of those things that's more viewed as like a taboo, like a little bit of off limits. That it's like people try not to consort with that because it's a little.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of people just have this sort of squicked outness of it, of like. And the same way, can think about like the bloodbenders in the Avatar, the Last Airbender sort of thing. Like
that's exactly what I was thinking about, but I didn't want to.
Very, I think a comparable view. Like there is a comparable view. They are rare. They are mistrusted and frowned upon generally, even though the ones that are known about are the ones that are trying to help people. That are, blood hunters. Semi-canonically, are people that use this blood magic to fight monsters and protect the innocent. Psyche, you remember all of these things that you have studied, and there's nothing that you are aware of that would use blood in this way.
Okay. I'm going to take the device out. I'm going to show it to all of you, and I'm going to specifically show it to Rivulet. I'm going to say, listen, someone who is willing to use blood in magic in this way cannot be trusted to not create a device that is designed to do great harm, not just to those who might have the misfortune to be in the area of its effect, but also to any who might tamper with it. This could have really hurt you. If you had messed with it, it could have really hurt you. We're very lucky that it didn't. We're very lucky that it didn't hurt everybody else. The reason why we told you not to mess with it was not because we don't think you're smart or capable. It's because we were worried it would hurt you, and it's only by luck that it did not. Do you understand?
Nope.
That one.
On understanding, are you rolling to understand?
Rivulet's fate is.
What do you think gets in the way of it for you?
Yeah,
Understanding that.
Yeah, I think I'm curious what that means for Rivulet in this moment, because you are all sitting here sharing this seaweed salad and looking at the blood in this device. So
I think there's like a part of like Rivulet who's young and doesn't understand consequences and like mortality. and they have been trained their entire life to make executive decisions. And she weighed the pros and cons and the risks that she understood and was like, this clearly is worth the risk.
I think Psyche would also see this not quite landing.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it's a nat 1. There's like...
Okay, I'm going to cast... I have the cantrip mending. I'm going to cast the cantrip mending to kind of mend that little vial so it doesn't completely spill out. And I wrap it in my little leather sack.
Oh, here, no, use this. And I take some of the like exoskeleton of the spiders, that I made the cuffs with. I like threw some extra things because I just like the shapes.
You have your shin guards and your
but then I also had some of their joint parts because I was like, oh, these are just really cool shapes, know. And I say, oh, here, look, we can. Don't ruin your beautiful leather stuff.
Thank you very much. I'm starting to understand, based on your explanation of how you learned how to cook, why you are so resourceful with everything that you find.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. I put it in a little bag. But I say,
I do love how resourceful you are. You have so much cool things, and I didn't even occur to me that those
you're
things
still
could be
on
cool.
thin ice, kid. But thank you for the compliment.
All right, scolding over is what I say. I can see that you have not taken it in. I'm like, we're not gonna hammer it home by me continuing to bag on you.
Some lessons must be learned.
Gonna give you processing time.
Experience.
Yeah. Go ahead and just continue thinking about the whole situation.
I'm hearing that you care about me and you were very worried and stressed. And I am sorry that you felt that way.
Wow.
That's not how you do that type of nonviolent communication, but nice try.
Thank you for doing what you can to process what just happened.
You're welcome.
I acknowledge that this may be, at this particular moment, the very extent of your abilities in that manner.
I do my best always.
I know that you do, Princess.
I feel so seen.
Oh, we see it.
As you rested and fed and processing continue, so with your seaweed salad eaten and Rivulet somewhat processing, how concerned everyone is about her was really, I think, what she gained out of this conversation. You all continue your way to Cattail Canal, the street of artificers. Even as the rest of the city that you walk through is still fairly subdued, there is the council guard presence and a few boats selling food and whatnot in the actual water, but the city is still very quiet. And I think the things that you have seen today have only reinforced that and the fact that it must be happening elsewhere in the city as well. But even through all that, the Street of Artificers rings with the sound of metal striking metal, potions bubbling, and other things coming from a row of sort of squat 2-story buildings on either side of the canal here. Mostly very utilitarian, sort of like functional boxes with some nods towards prevailing wind to provide ventilation. And a couple little bits of architectural flourishes and, planter boxes on the most aspirational, you might say, of the buildings. But you know where you are headed, and at the end of the canal is a smaller building, significantly smaller than the others, as if it's sort of most of them look like they're 2 stories, maybe a shop of some sort on the bottom and living space up top, you could assume, depending on the individual inside. But Irregular Artifice has a sign outside this smaller building at the end of the street. Very simple lettering, and what is a corvid of some sort, a raven or a crow hovering next to the letters. That does look, as you sort of pull out the device, almost identical to what is engraved on the corner of the pyramid. As you approach, there is sort of one window at the front, no planter box or anything, but I think Talus and Psyche, I think the two of you might notice some like fancier ventilation, like an actual sort of fan and the sound, a little bit of sound of clockwork as it moves, that's mounted and sort of seems to be pulling air from outside into the building.
Just in case that the person who is responsible for making this transporter is in this location, I think we should send a bubble to Ifazora and just let her know that we won the last battle and that we're here.
I think that's a sound idea, Princess.
Yeah, bubble it up.
You send a quick bubble, and a moment later, there's a little boop, boop, boop of someone trying to, record their own thing at the other end, and a message comes through from Ifazora that says that she is sort of finishing up at the pet store and following in your footsteps, as it were. Can be there in a little while if you need backup.
Wonderful. And she was very proud that I defeated so many things.
I don't think it says that. Galen's just kind of looking her over her shoulder.
Galen.
So you open the door, enter the shop, presumably. There's a little bell that rings. Everybody give me a perception check. You immediately notice there is a glass countertop display that is facing the door. You can see some crossbows and tools and stuff and a very obvious lock.
15.
I got a 10.
22.
22.
Got a 5.
5.
Oh, Galen.
So you all see this glass countertop display just facing the door, some crossbows, some tools, the other things. Looking around, there are a number of shelves and sort of display stands. There are many potions, some behind this counter and a few kind of on different shelves. There is behind the countertop this assemblage of glassware that looks like it was made by an insane glass blower, things that loop and swirl and seem to pass through each other almost, and a handful of clockwork birds, something that looks like a watch and various little sort of figurines that clearly are wind up. Psyche, you also notice in the rafters, there's, about 8-foot ceiling, another couple feet of rafters, but this one floor, there is a raven that is perched on one of these rafters and looking at you with little red beady eyes. And you also see behind the counter, there is a sort of like card catalog thing, like many small drawers that would pull out. And you see a very small mechanical spider that has sort of peeked a couple legs over from the top of it, and several of its eyes are focused on the four of you as you enter. And behind the counter, looking up as you all walk in, you see a medium height human woman, darker skin with green spectacles, and wearing this sort of, it's a little bit difficult to tell if it's metallic cloth or actual pieces of metal, but this, it's a sort of a cowl and vest and extending into leggings underneath a green and white long dress. Has like a belt with a number of little tools and pouches hanging from it, and a bandolier from her left shoulder to right hip with a number of vials and small glass or metal things stuffed through each of the loops, some of which are glowing, and a number of which are very different colors. And she looks up as you all enter from sort of neatening some things, and just goes, welcome to Irregular Artifice. Interesting. I presume you all need some healing potions. Adventurers like you usually seem to need that sort of thing. But how can I help you?
Oh, we would love to have your help, and I would love to persuade you to give us all your possible help that you could give us. With a 25.
General help persuasion.
General help persuasion.
She, seems very well disposed to you. What can I do for you? That's a very open-ended and ambiguous question.
Yes. Well,
I have several things for sale, including my services, should you need them, along with all the potions and other things here.
well, I would like potions, of course, and any cool things you might have. But I had questions about, have you seen anybody wearing a red cloak recently?
As you say this, her face goes from this sort of pleasant and welcoming and persuaded look immediately changes to something that looks much more angry. Who the bleeding fucking hell are you, and why are you going in my shop asking me about those bastards?
Hey, don't speak to our young friend like that. What are you stressing out about?
I wouldn't have nothing to do with those bastards, and you are coming into my shop and asking me something about them, and I don't like it.
Well, we're on your side.
What is it exactly that you'd like to know,
I'm
princess?
going to quietly pass off the object just into Rivulet's hands, just in case she wants it for this particular confrontation.
Well, you see, we had this wonderful adventure where apparently a red-cloaked being put in an object that was a trans-dimensional portal that I very intelligently disarmed. But it had your sigil on it, and we thought that you might know who might have acquired this.
Whatever are you
And she
talking
presents the thing with the sigil.
This woman's, you see her eyes immediately go towards the mark. Like, no hesitation, that is the first thing she notices, and doesn't react a lot. Everybody make an insight check.
17.
19.
13.
8.
Oh.
Galen, you're the only one that catches a momentary flash of recognition.
I
She's-
thought
With a
she's-
17. Sorry.
Yes, she rolled as well. And sometimes they roll good. I don't always roll garbage. Even on someone who has garbage charisma. Rivulet, the anger is genuine. It's not directed like at you in this moment, but genuinely seems to be upset at being lumped in with these people. That she sort of assumed you were associating her with the cult. Galen, you see laser focused on this maker's mark that you have found, a flash of recognition, and then it's kind of gone again.
Now, is this like a recognition of, like she was part of building this thing, or?
You barely beat her, so I think you're not entirely sure.
All right.
Yeah. But she looks at it immediately, and her eyes do react just enough for that check to be made.
We're concerned that you may have run afoul of these dastardly red-cloaked fellows. We have no love for them either, and it seems that something that you may have had a hand in making has been acquired by them, probably by nefarious trickery and other dastardly deeds. And so we were just wondering whether you might be able to point us in the right direction or give us any sort of information. Of course, we don't associate you with any of their malice.
I did think it was strange that Mega's mark was so prominently and clearly displayed.
She visibly takes a breath or two to calm herself, and in that moment, the raven flies down from the rafters. The rest of you notice it as well at this point, lands on her shoulder and seems to give her like a little headbutt of some sort. And you see the spider also just float as if it's being carried by an invisible hand down towards the countertop. And it skitters over. You see 8 eyes all focus on this device. It goes, "Mistress, it does look like the ones that..." And she goes, "Shut your little mouth."
Is this a sea spider?
No, it's more of a nuisance.
Like an aquatic spider that I could talk to?
It's mechanical. It's all clockwork. Well, now that the gang's all here, this is Hudson, and she taps the bird, and the bird just goes, "Ah." That is Uno. Hello, I am Uno, a research assistant device to Mistress Skylar.
You are very pleasant indeed. How much is this one?
My services are currently booked. It is quite useful. Forgive my outburst. I didn't make this. It is quite clever, I wouldn't deny that, but I would not be caught dead building some sort of abomination. Do you see with this? She starts pointing at some of the things. It's powered by some sort of sacrifice and designed to punch holes in reality, simply the way that bloody stupid tourney would have. Or did, perhaps. I don't... Oh, did? It sounds right. Look, I can see why you might have assumed that it was me, but again, I can assure you I would not have anything to do with a device like this. However, this trigger mechanism, Uno, if you would, and the spider skitters closer, and you see it reach out one leg, just sort of extends and extends and extends till it makes this little gold pointer, and it points this little thing that was wrenched out of place when the crystal was removed. But it's a little copper wire that's wrapped around a piece of maybe adamantine or some very shiny and strong metal, and another smaller little sort of very normal, like quartz-looking crystal. That's the triggering device of some sort. And my former mentor invented and perfected that device. I haven't seen him in years, however. He left the city some time ago. Last I'd heard, he had set up shop on the island of Tridenton. It's about a week's sailing away northeast, if you're not familiar with the geography. But the sign on my shop is sort of in homage to him. And
are you saying that the raven on this piece is from him?
Yes. Again, I had nothing to do with this device, and I wouldn't have anything to do with those that you described either. How much do you know about the history of, she looks at you, Galen, our people?
How much? Should I roll
sure, yeah. Roll a history check. I'm not going to give you advantage because Galen has been a pirate and around. I don't know if you would have necessarily absorbed the same sort of thing.
12.
So, Galen, what you remember in this moment, the human-dominated islands are the farthest out from Seashell, which is the center of the archipelago. And I think in this moment, you also know that humans sort of thought they were alone for a long time. They are far enough away that sailing there is kind of an ordeal. And thus, everyone else sort of focused their attention on crisscrossing the island through the archipelago through the center. And humans are like relatively recent toward members of the full archipelago community. I think with the 12, you also would remember that when you've met other humans in your travels as a pirate and here in the city, one of the other things you've picked up is that the islands seem to have less innate magic. You've met less, Rivulet having this very strong innate magic as well as her bardic magic. Talus having this learned and absorbed knowledge is a little more familiar to you, and the things you've seen Psyche do are almost unheard of. And what you know is that humans have less of this. The magic just comes from within and comes from that sort of a source. but that's led them to be, rivaling gnomes as artificers. Technology infused with or supplanting magic is what flourished in the human islands, because there was still enough people and enough brilliant people to try to make the most of the little magic they had. So wizardry and artificery are more common, and things like sorcerers, like druids, like paladins are a little bit less common. And I think you also know that it's the human islands are like several different islands, part of the archipelago, and the smaller islands that are a little closer to the center are also a little more warm and tropical. And as you go farthest out, the largest of these islands is huge, but also very like cold and again, like farthest from the center, sort of farthest from the magical equivalent of the equator, really, and also sort of explains in this world some of the variance in skin coloring in humans. That there are islands that are warm and tropical and sunny, and then extending further out to ones that are the equivalent of Northern Europe, sort of thing. But I think that's sort of this geography and general history. And the artificer continues, I suppose since we're getting this, I should introduce myself. My name is Sky, and you all look, believe I've heard about at least some of you from a mutual friend, a sea elf.
Alistair.
That'd be the one. I helped him design his receiving stones, and
that's a clever bit of work.
Thank you. It is one of the things I'm rather proud of, if I must say.
Right. So we have you to thank for the technology behind the stone cast.
Yes, that's correct. Well, he brought me the idea, and I learned enough to execute it. My people come from rather far islands, as I think you know. Most people seem to know that about us. What you may not also know is that the farthest island is the one where most of these people are coming from. My people come from an island much closer to the center of the archipelago, and we've had trade and experience with others who don't look like us for a long time. And many of those who come from the largest island believe in all this xenophobic nonsense that this cult is preaching. And it's sort of a really rather disgusting offshoot of a period in our history when we, believed we were alone and decided if the color of one's skin was enough reason to assume the worst about a person.
Is there anyone with grudges against you that might want to frame you for all this?
Right. So then apparently it's not so much that anyone was trying to frame you as that your mentor from Tridenton had a similar artificer's mark to the one you've created for yourself. Is that right?
He does. And again, the triggering mechanism is, I'm almost positive it's his work. So,
right.
Unless he's had another disciple since you...
True. That's not a bad point.
I'd like to think he would have told me, but you're correct. And to answer your question, plenty of people on this street, at least, do not like my forthrightness and the fact that I am a better artificer than them.
Fair enough.
And they may or may not, at this point, dislike me because I'm a human.
So can you tell us some more about your former mentor then? We may have need to speak to...
Oh, yes, what's their name?
Right. Really, we need to know as much as you can possibly tell him. Tell us about him. If he's had something to do with this opening portals where naughty demons come out, we're going to need to have some strong words.
Speaking of opening portals, can I roll? I'm not sure if it would be a history check to see if I know who among the collegium might have been responsible for that particular part of the tourney, like just maybe by word of mouth or reputation.
Responsible for
like the opening of
sure
into a different plane.
The idea or the mechanical portals that were being
so
opened?
my sense is that this this object is able to do this, replicate this magical process of like punching through into another plane and allowing things to come through. Would I know who, similar to the tourney? Yes. So there was there somebody like responsible at the Collegium who would have helped them do that?
I think no checklist necessarily. Let me think if I can parse the information a little bit. So what you have now been filled in on, what you know about the tourney is that was the structure of a demiplane being weakened by magic, very powerful magic cast within it continuously over a period of time. It's
so some kind of ritual. So there was
no, just the tourney itself.
Okay.
Yeah, I
just
feel
they
like
were
I had a good analogy.
They were in the demiplane casting magic.
Yes,
okay.
And that caused the actual structure of the demiplane to weaken.
Right.
The duels happening themselves is kind of what ultimately did it in. What was sustainable is like creating the demiplane and. Yeah, so that it's like cloth fraying, right? If a piece of cloth that has too much weight or gets stretched out over time develops these tears and these holes that then become the entirety of the thing. And this device is specifically opening a portal to a specific place.
So this is a device that like tears it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
got it.
It's specific places
like a hole puncher.
Where all those children.
I don't know where
exactly.
that came into my.
I think Psyche, roll an Arcana check.
That is a 2, but it is plus 10. It's 12. It's 12.
Yeah. But did that answer what you're? Yeah.
I think I was basically searching to see if there was like an individual who's affiliated with this kind of magic or technology.
Yeah. I mean, it is a conjuration specialty, teleportation and plane shifting things. I think you might immediately think of the Archmage of Conjuration or people specializing in that school has people who would know this magic. But it's not uncommon. Anyone who is sufficiently powerful could learn these spells or transcribe them or figure that.
Okay.
Hello, fellow tradespeople. This is Ben. I hope you are enjoying this podcast as much as we are. If you are, please leave us a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you are listening on. Also, go ahead and follow us on social media at the Roll Report Cast. If you are feeling especially supportive and fancy and delightful, you can also support us on Patreon, which we would really love and appreciate. And you get all kinds of really fancy special bonus perks for doing that. All right, back to the show.
Renton was doing an inquiry
yes.
into the mentor. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, he's a tiefling named Kamir and taught me almost everything I know. Almost. I've developed several techniques and tricks of my own since we parted ways. I apprenticed under him when I arrived in the archipelago. He was kind enough to take me under his wing and explain a number of things to me and guide me for a certain time until I decided that I wanted to make my own way and establish my own shop. And so I traveled for some time, and by the time I returned to the city of Sea Shallow and opened a regular artifice, he was gone. We correspond infrequently. We both sort of like our own space. But like I said, the last I heard from him was some time ago, perhaps as much as 6 months, and it was from Tridenton.
And did he say anything about what he's been up to lately?
No, but he did mention some clients And reading between the lines, he seemed a bit concerned with these particular clients at the time.
You're not connected with them on Bubble, are you?
I'm sorry, I find that to be a utterly tedious waste of time.
Me too.
I don't
Just
participate.
check.
It's possible he might. He was always a bit more of a showman than I was.
Rivulet looks him up on Bubble.
Roll a pure luck check. D20.
It's a nat 20.
Yeah. So you immediately find you find Khmer artificing. Yeah, it's just named after himself. Immediately clear the guy has a huge ego. And you see like his profile illusion that pops up immediately is this like very bright red-skinned tiefling with long black horns and like slicked back black hair that falls off to one side, doing a double thumbs up and flashing a big grin at whoever was taking this illusion. And it's full of it's not really like anything that he's made, like where you might expect that it would be little, quick illusory recordings of, a pair of hands working on something or like something in process or make. It's all just, as you sort of move through, it is months of just photos of him in various poses, usually flashing 2 thumbs up and a big grin. And sometimes in front of other restaurants or stores. And you see this like little disclaimer that says, I was paid to be here. And notably nothing for the last like 2 weeks. After seemed to be a pretty frequent user, but nothing more recent than 2 weeks.
Do you know if there might be a good way to approach this? I know compliments, clearly. But
Why do you say that, Princess?
well, he seems to be quite the braggart. Yes.
And you would know, huh?
Oh, yes, I have many sisters. Don't tell them I said that. Do you think he's the sort that if we asked him directly with much praise and compliments that he might tell us the whereabouts of these red cloaks? Because I'm thinking I could just send him a bubble right now.
You are a princess, so that might be flattering.
Yeah, you might need a little more tact, but
He usually responds well to money.
Oh, well.
Right.
Unfortunately, he's less scrupled than, seems to like stare off into space for a moment and shakes herself back.
well,
Yes,
reach out with something innocuous. See if maybe he wants to meet up, or just have a chat.
Right.
The bubble,
Ostensibly, he might be a little secretive about his clientele. Well, you're very charming, and you have 2 very capable chaperones who are definitely going to go with her and make sure.
Oh, well, of course.
Okay,
I'm just talking about sending a message.
Right.
Get on a live chat. You got that? Is there a stream you
Yes,
hook into,
yes, yes.
right? The current.
People supervise
The
your
current.
bubble usage, do they not, Princess?
Ocean.
I know you're a little old for that.
Oh, they don't know anything about supervision on Bubble. That's what makes it so fun.
Oh.
So I'll just press this and see if he picks up.
As you wait for a moment, you see Sky just kind of picks up the device and continues, like now has a little pair of needle nose pliers and is sort of trying to extract some of the pieces that got broken as the vial shattered and examine them more closely. You wait for a few moments and there is no answer.
Good
He's
try.
been kidnapped. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Hostage to the red
seems
cloaks.
that is
That's clearly what's going on.
okay.
Strong intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it
possible.
works out well.
Yeah, sometimes people just have a little too much social media and they take a little detox too. That could be it. Yeah, I mean,
Right. He's not picking up his sending stone at the moment.
Well, you know,
It's quite
he was
possible.
quite active, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, nothing. And he's not picking up from me and that's
Very
very rare.
strange.
Very astute
Yes.
observation. If he was a frequent user of this hideous device and suddenly ceased, that could very well mean that something has happened to him. It's not necessarily kidnapping. It could be illness, injury, or death as well. Any number of things could explain it, but that is something to make note of, to be sure.
So
Yes, but they'd want to keep him for making more artificers.
I agree. I think that
He's
is a logical
used-
deduction.
yes, it's clear that they'll want a lot more of these if they're planning to release naughty beasts from their nightmares' vault of terrors.
Well, I hate to say it, but they could have a large number already. It's not a particularly difficult device to make. Of course, you'd need to know how to do a couple of tricky bits of wire, and they would need someone who could, in fact, cast. Oh, well, I believe that's a plane shift. Is it? Yes. Someone to cast a plane shift is that's probably the bottleneck, if you will.
Do you know how to make one to get to the elemental plane by any chance? Just asking, no personal reason whatsoever.
This.
Can I roll insight on
Yeah, sure. Rivulet, you can roll deception if you want.
That's a 7.
I got an 11.
Why is I think as Psyche looks sideways at you as you ask the question, why? And actually, yeah, Sky gives you a look and raises her eyebrow.
Oh, well, some of us were blessed to be the children of elementals, and then, elementals like to be adventurous, and they might not check on their own children, and that's no fault of the children themselves, but if a child might want to find their parent and say hello, and maybe what am I like, and what are we
Yes.
like, and, well...
I
have many friends with such issues, and I care about them, so maybe you know how to fix this problem.
Of course you do. I'm afraid the spell is not within my own repertoire. My wizardry only extends so far. As you can see, and she gestures around, I've chosen to focus more on the alchemy. That was my first calling. But I suppose I could perhaps attempt to create a scroll for you, and someone else could cast it, or certainly the Collegium would be able to do so more
What about
readily. If you
this-
prefer discretion, then of course I could do that. And
What about your mentor? He seems to be making all sorts of things going to other dimensions.
well, if I am correct, he is making it, but he is not the one empowering the actual portal.
Right, that would have to be someone who could cast plane shift.
Exactly. Well, again, if he had a scroll, if someone had acquired a scroll, he would be at least capable of attempting such a thing. But it is, like myself, he is not a wizard, so to speak.
Can I do an Arcana check to see who can cast that?
Yeah,
What
go for it.
kind of person you have to be?
I think you have advantage as a wizard.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do I know somebody who could cast that? Given that would definitely
That was a
factor into
25.
my... Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
The advantage
I mean,
counts.
I think Psyche, from your research, and Talus from your wizardry, like you guys have a understanding of the, power of magic. And when we metagaming, think about the level of spells. So Plane Shift is a 7th level spell. It is a very powerful spell. If I'm remembering right now in the moment, it is usually restricted to wizards and druids. As people that can just learn it. Other people can attempt to cast it from a spell scroll as anyone can, but it would be difficult. It would require, them to make a spell casting check. So I think in this moment, you do know that, a very powerful druid, Tefist, who you've met, the druid here, would be someone who is capable of that, or the archmages at the Collegium, or people who have reached a similar level of magical ability, could learn this spell. And the fact that it is sort of inscribed into this device, and I think with 25, you feel pretty confident that it is a powerful wizard who knows this spell. And if Sky seems so certain that neither she nor her mentor can cast it themselves, then this wizard has either made a scroll, casted themselves, or has worked with Kamir, worked with the artificer to combine the spell directly into the device, if that makes sense. The carving these runes and sigils, or engraving, etching them into the metal, is an artificed development that this guy could have contributed to, but he still wouldn't necessarily like know the spell himself.
The teacher that in our earlier adventure that we captured at the Collegium, would they have been powerful enough to do that?
No.
Yeah, okay. He seemed like a little bit of a dweeb.
So I'm tempted to go and try to pick up Khamir's trail in Tridenton, but before we go up there, would you just mind looking at these bubble images and seeing whether that is the last place where he took pictures of himself? I certainly wouldn't want to go for a week on a sailboat only to find out his last photo was taken down south.
Yeah, absolutely. She starts looking through the bubble. No, a few weeks ago I was traveling. I'm not entirely familiar with every feature of every island, but I have made a bit of a study of geography. And as far as I can tell, that the backgrounds in at least one of these sort of shops he seems to have been paid to be illusioned in front of are in fact on Tridenton. So I would say that is my best guess at the moment. And again, that's where I received a letter from. We physically correspond.
Any potions or things that you would like to send us off with to go rescue
Would you like to purchase some?
I need to purchase a nice balsamic. Do you have
a vinegar?
Yeah.
Of course. She digs around. Quickly
Standard
just
fare for any adventurer.
Points over to one shelf, which is clearly like various oils and vinegars, like more machine oils and vinegars as solvent than like cooking. But there is like one little thing of balsamic vinegar.
Adventurer's brand Tormentus salad dressing.
And it has like an added kick of good luck.
It does.
Yeah.
For Galen, of course. Yes, a silver piece should do for that. But I do have other potions, more magical in nature, if you would like to purchase some.
Anything particularly helpful for us that you might recommend?
Roll me. Let's see. Roll me a d6.
I got a 4.
Okay. Okay.
Got it too.
So as you look around, there are a number of healing potions, always useful. There also she pulls out a vial that does have sort of the same characteristics of a healing potion. He goes, "This is actually a potion of poison. I'm telling you because." Well, I wouldn't like you to drink this and think you were getting healed, only to ingest something toxic. But you might like to feed that to someone else. Puts it on the counter. I have several, actual healing potions. She puts them on the other side of the counter. I've got, what else have I got? I've got this, and there's like a little bottle, small like glass bottle that comes out that has... it looks like sort of sandstone. It's like layered or like layered sand. There's like a gray layer and a brown layer and a black layer and several shades. Just puts it, notably as she puts it down, the layers don't move. This potion of climbing. If anyone needs to climb sort of things. And I did just finish this. And she puts another one that's filled with transparent liquid and has a large silver fingernail.
Ew.
Well, yes, but do you understand that body parts have intense magical powers, and this will make you incredibly strong as the being that I guess this thing came from. I can't say that I retrieved it myself, but will make you incredibly strong for a period of time.
Right, well, I'll take that potion of climbing then. How much is that?
50 gold, please.
Ooh, that's a bit steep. Let me check my pocketbooks. All right, I do have it, so here you are.
Very well. I can add a potion of climbing to your inventory. These healing potions are all 50 as well. And this one, taps the one with the fingernail in it, is 100. And this other one is, say it's 50, the same as the ones it looked like. Well,
And I'm a little strapped today. I got 13 gold and 7 silver. Okay. I think just the balsamic for me.
What do you want? I'll spot you.
What? You'll spot me?
Yeah.
I just the balsamic, I think, and
Okay. You don't want anything else?
You don't want a potion.
I don't know.
Make you even more strapping than you already are with that
Give me that
powerful,
strong potion then. If
strong fingernails potion. I'm sure
right.
you could do some excellent cooking.
Galen, add a potion of hill giant strength to your inventory.
Hill giant strength.
Healing
Okay.
potions for anyone?
I would like the one that pretends to be a healing, but is not for healing.
I'm not sure we should be letting you hold that. We might have to have Drone carry it.
I would label it quite carefully if I were you.
Wonderful.
What does it matter where I add it
And
to
you want
equipment? I'll just box
want
back.
gold for these?
And then
We're trading?
I would like 50 gold for the potion, yes. Thank
I don't
you.
think it does matter where you put it. I think you can put it in your pouch.
Yeah, it's-
backpack.
Yeah, it is a weird, confusing thing. I don't think it matters. I guess maybe if you were a stickler for some rule, you're like, if it's not in your equipment, you can't use it.
Right. I don't think I've ever.
I appreciate now that you can indicate which things are in your backpack or bag
Right.
of holding or whatever container of sorts, but it also seems to not really fucking matter. So as the potions have changed hands, she
What's this potion called?
it's
Poison.
literally potion of poison. She sort of picks up the device again. Might I keep this? It's rather interesting. I'd like to study it.
Well, I guess I know where you are.
We should trade for it.
No, it is evidence in a crime. So no, we should not trade for
So we're
it.
keeping it and giving it to...
We are loaning it. It's sort of a loan.
You work in the Grand Temple, do you not?
Right.
I can return it to you.
Why do you know that?
I am quite observant.
I see.
Okay, so as we're heading out, I'll be the last one through the door, and I'll just look back over my shoulder and say, one more thing. Does the name Theobald mean anything to you?
Should it?
I'm going to cast Detect Thoughts to make sure.
Okay.
All right. Difficulty rating 15.
You want to probe?
Yeah.
Okay. Wisdom.
Yes, Wisdom 15.
On the surface, actually, are you still attuned? Yeah. Static. Nothing but static.
Dun dun dun.
Make an Arcana check.
Nat fail. It's an 8 with the bonus,
Okay.
but it's still a 1.
I mean,
Not getting
Any-
any more out of this one.
any number of reasons why your spell might not have worked, but in this moment, as she's just staring directly back at you as she's should it was sort of normally, and then there was a moment of just eyebrows slightly up and staring directly back at you.
Oh, not necessarily. Have a good one. Maybe we'll see you later.
Interesting. Good afternoon. The little bell rings again, and you begin heading. Where are you heading?
Back to the temple.
Back to
Are
yeah.
we returning evidence to your house?
Yes. I suppose we should do that. Yes. You're all invited if you'd like to come. I suppose.
Or maybe are we just sending you
Sort
on
of-
your way?
Well, yes, you could do that also. I suppose. If you did want to accompany me to the temple, a sort of meeting of the minds to determine what you intend to do next.
Well, I suppose we should take as much as we can from your research to help us in our future quest if there's any further things that you might be able to help us with based on your colleagues and compatriots.
Right, you might be availed of all my research. So to
Indeed.
speak. Well, then I suppose we ought to go to the temple.
Right.
I don't have company very often. I'm just getting a little flustered.
You're great company.
Oh, thank you. I haven't cleaned up. Is that all right?
Well,
I've
wait
never
till you see
minded
my
a mess.
barracks.
Right. I mean, we drink alcohol from a hole made in the floor, so I wouldn't mind too much of that.
You should not do that.
Oh, it's delicious.
Oh, no, there's a jug in the hole in the floor. It's not just in the dirt. Come on.
I didn't know that. I thought we were just drinking it straight from the floor.
And that's why I make the floor wine.
That's true. Long practice. So you all are able to catch a water taxi heading towards the inner ring, towards the Grand Temple, and I think sort of accidentally on purpose, Talus, you find yourself and Psyche at kind of sort of the rear of the taxi, and Galen and Rivulet up at the bow as you all proceed through the city.
Psyche, I really appreciate all the help you've been able to give us. I've been very impressed by all of your magical abilities and skills.
Thank you. I have been most impressed by your variety of skills as well. How long have you been she gestures to Sea Shallow in general?
Well, the truth is not long. You may have noticed, and I get the sense that we might share something of the not what we seem about ourselves, and then I'll pass into my Yorick face and say, I came into Sea Shallow with this face on. An old friend of mine called Yorick helped me to understand a bit more about the world. And then I'll show Psyche my true face for a moment and say, you may have guessed, but I am actually not of this world. And I stepped through a gate out of the Fae and onto an island where Yorick was marooned. And that's how I found myself in Sea Shallow. And then I'll put my Renton face back on and say, so that's how I found myself here.
A gate, so a purposeful construction that allowed you to leave the Feywild.
Well, I got into some trouble there and had to leave in a bit of a hurry.
I see.
If you must know, I don't like to talk about it too much. I wouldn't want anything bad to befall you as a result.
I see, I won't press. Well, that must have been very frightening indeed. I myself don't often leave the confines of, the temple, almost at all. So I can only imagine leaving from one's world. I suppose you all three have done that, haven't you? The princess is far from Atlantis. Galen certainly is no longer among the octopi.
Right. Indeed, we're all a long way from home.
Yes, indeed. Why did you want to share that with me?
Well, I got the sense that maybe you weren't quite what you seem either. I have to say that I don't think I've ever found anyone quite as beautiful as you in my entire life.
Oh, thank you. That is a. They look a little troubled by that. Yes, that is sort of a. Shall I say a result of my birthright, so to speak. A result of my lineage. I not voluntarily project a sort of desirable facade on those that I encounter. Some of, not siblings, but cousins of mine don't do it quite as much. They're a little more, shall we say, sure of themselves.
Would you mind if I tried it?
The facade that you see?
Yes.
Oh, I would love that. I get an impression of what people see. Obviously, I saw Rivulet's centaur designs, but I would love to see it rendered more clearly.
Right. Okay. So now Talus is going to create a face that is of the face that I see of Psyche, which is a silver-haired Aasimar woman with silver freckles and long silver hair and a silver garment of some sort that I will add a detailed description to.
Your cloak of many
in the future.
fashions sort of ripples and changes color as you do.
Exactly. Perfect, Colin. Thank you. Yes. So I wanted you to know that you appear like this to me.
Oh, Dallas, that is very flattering. It's a beautiful look on you. And I actually think as you are saying that, because you've been spending so much time with them, you do see that facade kind of drop away. And in front of you is a slight feminine-looking person with a pretty round face, dark brown eyes, and dark brown hair. Sort of, I don't think we have an equivalent in this world, but Asian-looking woman. Dressed in the same robes that you've seen them in all day. But they look actually very plain. They're a very kind of plain-looking person with high cheekbones and their hair done up in a very tight bun. And I think that you're way more able to see, they're very shy. They're a very shy person. And I think you're able to read that in their body language a lot easier now that you can see what they actually look like.
This version is beautiful too.
Oh, thank you very much.
Galen, Rivulet, make a perception check, please.
Nat 20, baby.
Only 2.
Hey!
Whoa.
Wow.
Highly perceptive.
Narratively perfect, I think. I think you all have been quietly listening to this subtly, this moment as it unfolds, and you turn around as you hear a little bit, and you see Talus in Faye's new face. And I think you also see the seemings drop away from Psyche, and as the gondola continues onward, you get this glimpse of Psyche's true self. Yeah. And that is where we will pick up next time.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Delightful. Thank
Delightful.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Hannah, thank you so much for joining us this last chunk of episodes. We have loved having you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Yeah. Bringing this little chunk of our adventure to a close. Hannah, where can people find you? Because you're amazing.
Thank you. People can find me on all platforms as at Booger Queen Draws. I do D&D character art, homebrew, lots of videos about my opinions on Baldur's Gate. I'm a fun time and I'd love to have you. And I am also the social media manager for this wonderful podcast. You can find us everywhere at the Roll Report Cast on both TikTok and Instagram. I guess that's not everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and we're on Blue Sky now.
And we're on Blue Sky
If you're on
now.
Blue Sky, find us on Blue Sky. I did that.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, Hannah. What? It's
What is Blue Sky?
It's a new attempt to replace the artist formerly known as Twitter.
Yes,
Right.
indeed.
Okay.
It's new,
it's like community based. I don't know. There's like
Twitter, hopefully.
yeah, it seems to be a little bit more moderated so far, and there is like other people that I worked on Faces with the Cage of the Cage with are on there, and like some other content creators in the
Cool.
RPG sphere. Yeah.
That's where all the cool kids
yeah,
are now.
thank you so much, Hannah. Fenner, where can people find you?
Well, just check me out on Instagram at allfenner. Who knows what I'll be up to?
Who knows? You can't find me on Instagram, but you can find my cats at NoGoodCats. Hear all the little monsters that are interrupting us every session.
Yeah.
Kaya, where can people find you?
On Instagram, Kaya May, KAYAMEYY.
And I am Ben at Ben_Rogue on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for joining us. If you like what you hear, please rate the show, give us that wonderful 5 stars, and maybe even write a review on Apple Podcasts. Oh my God, wait, we have one. I hadn't looked in a while. I hadn't looked in a while. I'm really sorry. Who was it? It was someone. Kit Has Cats. Thank you, Kit Has Cats. And apparently it happened in February and somehow didn't...
What did they say?
Well, it didn't upload. I'm just apologizing for the fact it took me so long to notice. Kit Has Cats says, lighthearted, fun, and silly. It's a joy to listen to. I can't help smiling and giggling when I listen. Thank you, Kit.
That is lovely.
We love that. So leave us a review. When I notice it, I will read it on the show, and hopefully sooner than February to now, which is currently April.
You didn't have to tell them that.
I am an honest DM at times. Time is a soup.
Slimy.
Time is a soup. But yeah. And if you really love us, find us on Patreon, patreon.com/therollreportcast. For as little as $2 a month, you help us keep making the show that we love doing. And like we always do, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Consequences for your actions.
Who knows what consequences are?
Why do they matter? They don't matter.
I like balsamic.
Cha 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 balsamic.